Members of the company, this is your Places call. Places, please. Places for the top of the podcast. Places, please.
Get ready for a behind-the-scenes look at the glitz and not-so-glam of Broadway, education, and everyday life with Uncommon Sense. Join hosts Christopher Smith and Sharna Lopez as they bring you the best stories and shenanigans that seemingly prove how elusive common sense can really be. So take a little time for yourself to hang out with the dynamic duo Charnopher. And no leaving early, because you might just miss that 11 o'clock number.
Stand by music. Music, go.
Uncommon sense, the 11 o'clock number. And we are Charnopher.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense, the 11 o'clock number. We are so excited for our guest today.
I can't contain it.
Can't handle
I'm
it.
so excited.
Boom.
We've been trying to get this guest locked down for a while, but she's a busy gal.
Yeah.
And she's finally back from college, and she's here now. And if you're watching, I feel like we can never have like a surprise moment.
No, we can, because I just don't show her yet.
Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, so we don't show her yet.
Clearly, you haven't watched any of our stuff on YouTube. Everyone else watch it on YouTube.
I have known this amazing young woman for quite a while, longer than Christopher, but Christopher and I have done a lot with this said individual.
Yeah.
One of the, and I can say this, and I say this all the time, but I'm going to brag for a little bit like a mama about her. One of the most talented students that have, and I think you would agree, Christopher.
Oh, 100%.
Who's come across our teaching realm, and just an all around awesome human. And I think that's going to be, you guys are going to have to stop me this episode from constantly saying that, but a very cool person who has got all the talent and all the humbleness and kindness to go with it. So,
yep.
Would you like to add anything to that before I introduce?
I think I would, because one little thing is you will recognize this human's voice if you listen to our intro. Because that
I forgot about
beautiful voice that you hear singing Uncommon Sense. Yeah, way better than that. That is Maggie Gidden. Here she is, y'all.
Revealed.
Oh,
Maggie's with us today, you guys.
Wow, I'm coming on the podcast every week if you're going to talk about me like that. Wow, thanks.
I know, right? I mean,
Right.
We can introduce guests, but truly, I do mean that, and I'll get into more of why, Maggie. And I know Maggie and I are really close personal friends, aside from being her teacher and director a lot throughout her years when she was younger. But she's also a super fun person. So Christopher and I, when we were trying to figure out who we wanted on the podcast, we were like, oh.
She was on our list like immediately.
Yeah. For sure. And we're in the same room today too. I know I had to make that comment last time because normally I don't look both ways, but like I'm looking this way and I'm looking this way. So sorry, friends who are watching on YouTube if we look odd, but it doesn't matter. So we have Maggie. Welcome, Maggie. Thanks for being here, girl. We're gonna jump right in because I feel like we'll end up talking for hours as we do with our awesome friends. But I met Maggie. What were you, Maggie? 7, maybe? Yeah, 7. So I've known Maggie for quite a while. And from the first time I met her and the first thing we did together, I was like, oh, yes. She was a little spitfire, just adorable, always, happy to do whatever in shows. And then met Christopher freshman year?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, freshman year of high school with Footloose.
Yes.
This was the first time. So that's kind of our background with Maggie. And I'm not going to take over the whole show. We'll let her talk. But I wanted people to kind of know where we know
but I
Maggie
have to talk
from.
about Footloose, which we'll talk more about later.
So Maggie, do you want to give us like a little background on you? You don't have to go from like your birthday or anything, but just like kind of how you maybe got into theater and what you do and kind of your little, like your journey?
My journey?
Yes,
of
please.
course.
Your journey.
So at the age of 5, my dad went on a business trip and left like for the week, and my mom started playing the Wicked soundtrack in her car. And when he came back, I had learned all the words to Popular.
Of course you
and
did.
they said,
Of course you did.
yeah, right? And they said, maybe we should put Maggie in some classes, and the rest is history. That's it. No,
But truly, I mean, like, honestly, I feel like knowing you, I feel like that would be it. Like, knowing
Yeah.
your parents, they'd just be like, this is a sign, go to the stage.
Yes.
Right?
yeah.
And Maggie, did either of your parents have a performing background at all?
No, my dad like did some like children's show in college where he dressed up like an artichoke. And my mom has got like great dance moves, but
Yes.
well, and she actually played a hotbox girl in high school.
Let's
Oh.
go,
And Betsy
Gina.
Dolls.
Let's go, Gina. Gidden.
Right.
And Gina has been like, you know, she does theater at her school. Like she's in that realm now for sure, but nothing like the kind of like natural born talent that you were blessed with. Crazy girl.
I'm telling you, the dance moves from my mom and the singing from my dad like melded together, and now
And here we are.
here I am. But yeah, so I basically started doing theater when I was 5 years old. And then 7th grade came around and I auditioned for OSHA, and I got into OSHA for musical theater. And that I had already known Charnopher for some time, like she said, but freshman year I met Christopher Smith
Yes, she did.
at the most iconic show ever, Footloose.
Truthfully, and
You
we
know.
gotta take some time for
Yeah.
I know.
Footloose. We'll come back to it, but you can keep
Yeah.
going and kind of your journey and where you are now.
Yeah. And then senior year, I auditioned for 19 programs, and I went to all of them. I know.
Whoa, that's a lot.
And
Max.
now I probably wouldn't audition for 19 programs.
Also wanna talk about
but
that
I know
later.
that Scott Barnhart talked a lot about that on a previous episode, but for real.
Yeah.
And then COVID. Well, no, I decided to go to Texas State University. Go Bobcats, eat 'em up. Love Texas State. Woohoo! And then COVID hit, and my first half of freshman year was online over a computer screen.
Mhm.
Crazy. And the end of my senior year. How can
Yeah.
we forget?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I remember your graduation for sure. Doing,
Drive-through.
drive-through, walk-through, weird graduation. Oh,
Crazy.
Maggie. Then we had like a backyard graduation for all the graduates that year.
Yep.
In our family friend circle because we had so many. Oh man,
Mhm.
crazy.
Yep. And then eventually, second semester freshman year, I got to move to Texas. I saw Texas for the first time. And went to school there. Luckily, I love it, and I love the people there, and like I couldn't ask for anything more. And now I'm home for the summer and going into my senior year.
It's not real,
Oh my
It's not real.
gosh!
It's
And then
not.
what? Who knows?
man. And then what? All the things because I
things.
can't wait to see what you do. Oh my
Aw.
gosh, I know. Okay, but we got to go back to Footloose.
Footloose.
Christopher,
Okay.
do you want to talk about? So I think you probably have maybe a different like memory because meeting Maggie, like I already knew Maggie,
Yeah.
right? So I can give my like moment of Footloose,
Yeah.
but I want you to
Well,
talk about it.
so first of all, Footloose, I was like, I don't know this show. I didn't know the movie. I was like, I'll do it. I was doing it with you. I was like, let's do it. Let's have so much fun.
Well, and then it was gonna be. We talked about this on another episode. It was our first show together
Yeah.
too, and we had really enjoyed working
forgot
together.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh!
it was like our first thing, Christopher and I, and then Christopher meeting Maggie.
Yeah.
too.
So I just remember, I think it was callbacks. Was it callbacks? I literally cannot remember what you said. No, maybe it was after we, I don't know. I'm getting like so confused, you
Well,
guys.
It was a long time ago.
Do you want me to give my rendition then?
Sure, because I just want to get to the point where she sings the Rusty thing,
Yeah.
so that I don't know whether that was early on or later.
So okay,
but-
so I obviously have known Maggie since she was little, and I find I have to be not careful, but I'm just very aware in an audition process when I know a student in a different way than others. So I didn't say anything. I was really quiet about Maggie, and I didn't even like, although I wanted to be like, she's a rock star and I love her and she's so good. Like I was like, Sharna, stay in your lane. And I didn't say anything. And then I remember you had them line up in these lines to like
Yeah.
rotate through singing.
Yeah.
And I remember she got to the front and I was like cheering secretly. Everyone could probably see it on my face. I don't think I'm that good of an actress, but I was like trying so hard to be like, and I just remember you walking over to the table and you were like, who is that? And I was like, well, let me just tell you all about my friend Maggie. That's my friend Maggie. Like, because I was trying so hard to like keep it in until you had made your decision on your own, you know? Because I didn't want Maggie to feel like, oh, Charna said all this stuff about me. So I remember being like, I'm letting all the people learn about Maggie on their own. And then I'm going to be like, she's my friend. I love her. And I was like so excited. Maggie doesn't even know the story because she didn't know that side of it. No, but I just remember Christopher being like, who is that? Because, and her vocal, okay, you talk about her vocals, but like just your energy too, like in the room is super fun and contagious.
Well, I just loved having her in the show once we got there. Spoiler alert, she was rusty. But there's that, there's that part at the end of Let's Hear It for the Boy that she just did in Mariah Carey Land, just like so effortlessly. Effortlessly. And I was like, girl, what is happening? You're a 9th grader? Shut it down. Shut it down.
I actually think those are the exact words. Shut it down.
Wow.
Shut it down.
Probably.
And I think too, like that show took you on such a journey, Maggie, because you got all the way to the Jimmys and you got to go to New York and you became like famous through it. Like I just remember like, because social media is so powerful in that way and everyone sharing, you know, how was that experience, the Jimmys, going to New York and being, because you did perform that song at the Jimmys.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I got to perform that and then I was a finalist, so I got to sing another song. Which I also performed it at the Macy's, and I don't know if you remember this, Christopher. But we were outside for lunch at the Macy's, and I went up to you and I said, oh my gosh. I said, I couldn't find the sheet music from the score. So I just I found this sheet music online, and I think it's correct. Do you want to look at it in case I have to go up there and sing? And you said, I'm sorry, what? You said, Maggie, what? I'll look at it, but I don't. And I was like, I hope it works. And then
Me too.
Yeah. And then spoiler alert, had to go up there and sing it. So thank goodness that sheet music was correct. But
oh my gosh, I could just see you at lunch being like, hey, Mr. Smith, I found this music. Maybe it's right. Yes, I remember you going up there. And that I honestly think like maybe that is even more nerve-wracking than the Jimmys because you didn't know, right? The Jimmys, you know you're going to perform, right?
Yeah.
You know when you're going to do it. But like the Macy's, it was like you're sitting and then you're like, is it going to be me? Is it going to be me? Right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I remember being so excited.
Oh my gosh. That was like an out-of-body experience. But the Jimmys, I was like a baby. Like I don't, like when I went, I was like, yeah, I'm like in high school now. But I was a baby. Like it was me and one other freshman. That was it. And so like that in itself, like just like socially was crazy because it was a bunch of like junior seniors that I like crazy looked up to. And so that was like something in itself. But then like still to this day, like my little Bobcat brag, who's going to be a freshman at Texas State. Her name is Hannah, and she's at the Jimmys right now for Fanny Bryce.
Oh, that's
cool. I know. And I texted her and I was like, have the best time, like send everyone my love. Like, I hope, like, let me know if you need anything. And she was like, I just realized that I was obsessed with your Jimmy video when I was in high school. Yeah.
Full circle.
Still to this day, I'm getting DMs that are like, I love this video. I'm like, I was a little baby freshman. And that was before, my year was like the year before the Jimmys became like full blown, like super social media heavy.
Okay.
But like even now, I'm still getting DMs and comments and like followers from that experience.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. What a cool experience. It's funny, like, that she was only a freshman. I don't know. I think because I have known you for so long, some of those years but now seeing you as a grown-up and seeing freshmen that we have now, I'm like, they would have never survived there. Like, what the heck?
No.
Like, I think you were very mature for your age, for sure. But also that is a big adventure for a freshman. You know?
And I don't know if you know, Maggie, do you have any idea how many freshmen have been asked to the Jimmys, have made it to the Jimmys?
I don't know. I know my year it was me and the sweetest girl. Her name was Carly Meyer, and she was in Fiddler on the Roof. But we were in the same like coaching group, and we were the only 2 freshmen.
That was
so two out of 75.
Yeah. Dang.
So
that's so cool. What a cool experience.
Right. Yeah. But also, who else would they give it to that year?
Right. I mean, also, like, again, I'm like Maggie's biggest fan, but like, you couldn't come see Footloose at OSHA and be like,
She was
Who
okay.
is that one girl? People were like, what
is happening?
But I think it was just a combination. Like, you just have a natural talent, but you're also such a hard worker, and your energy. Like, I love your energy in a room. And I don't know if we talked about it with Scott or not, but you are that type of person that you could be the lead in the show. You could be a supporting character. You could be tree number 5, and my eyes would go right to you because you just bring that to a stage, and you're so prepared. And it's something, and you will find this out and probably have already, but I know in your career, it's going to take you far, because when you speak to people in the industry, that is what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared, be on time, be kind, be professional, and it's like, yes, you need to be talented, and you have that in your, like, in spades, but the fact that you have all that other stuff too, I think is really, which has always made you stand out. And then people see you on stage and they're like, oh, she's a freshman? What? This queen's singing Mariah Carey whistle tones as a freshman?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Unreal.
I do what I can.
Maggie, you have done a lot of shows, and I ask everybody this, and I know Christopher's always like, this is a hard question, and it is hard.
Oh, I know it's coming.
It's coming.
I know.
But so you know it's already coming. So I'm going to ask you two things, because I think I go off of, like, my experience. You don't have to pick your favorite show you've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, like, your favorite role and then your favorite show experience, because maybe sometimes it's different. Like, is there a role you've played that has been favorite, most, I don't know, like, exciting, or the best experience, or the biggest challenge, or something along those lines?
I was like a baby when I did, not really a baby, but I was little when I did this one.
As a baby.
But when I played Annie Oakley and Annie Get Your Gun, for me, that was the first time I ever experienced a role that was a lead, and went through very real things, but was also like the funniest gal in the whole show.
Yeah.
And that's, I love to be funny. I love to be funny on the stage. So that was like a real, like, eye-opening thing for me. And that, like, has opened my eyes to even today looking for roles like that can be like a fierce female leading role that, like, go through emotional things and, like, have a real story, but can also be really funny. Because most female characters are, like, supporting. And if you took them out, like, you wouldn't, you'd miss them, but you don't need their story. And so it just brings me joy seeing characters like that. And so playing that role was, like, really special.
How old were you when we did that? I directed that show, by the way. Just kidding.
Spoiler.
But how old were you? Because to me, you didn't seem like a baby.
I was an 8th grader.
That's
so I was
crazy. But see, now we need to stop the
14?
podcast. This is insane. We cannot talk about this because Maggie is not a regular 8th grader. Like, there's no way in my mind right now that somebody that I know is in 8th grade could play Annie Oakley. Like, I just think you were like 18 when we did it, which is not true.
18 forever. I've always been 18 this whole time.
Because you're right, Maggie. Exactly what you said. That role is all of those things, and it's a tough role to play. Ooh. Yeah, you were so great in that. I'll listen to Maggie sing the phone book.
Right?
I love it. It's so great. How about, you said that was a little bit challenging. Is there any other role or show that has been, like, a really tough show for you, or was, like, a super exhausting or anything like that?
Well, I have 2. But I'll make it quick.
You don't have to make it quick.
Girl, we got you here. You're not leaving.
Time.
You're not leaving.
I'm stuck here. One was Shayna Taub's adaptation of As You Like It, because
I love
that like experience, that was, like, probably my best show experience ever. Like, just the whole creative team was, like, the most, magical thing in the whole world.
I might have been on that. Thank you.
Maybe.
It's Christopher's turn.
Perhaps.
That was a great show.
Yeah, but that role, the only source material for that was, like, a 30-second, like, promo video, and then Shayna Taub's, like, demo track where she played every single role. And you better believe I listened to it in the car every day on my way to school. And there was a street called Rosalind Drive, and I'd pass it every day, and I'd go, I'm gonna keep practicing because this is and it was
like written in the stars.
I know.
Like, that's crazy.
I know. But that, like, was, again, another big first for me. It was the first time there was no source material to be like, let me just see how this actress did it.
But that, I think, is the fact that you got to experience that.
Yep.
Because in 1902, when we were young people, that's how it was. Like, truly though, like, if I had the cassette tape of the Phantom of the Opera, maybe I could learn to sing Christine. Never, I'm a tenor.
Double set.
It was a double set. But truly, and I think like I have a love-hate relationship with it because I actually love that there's a lot of source material and you can get inspiration or you can get ideas, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I will say how cool that for you got to originate completely on your own that character, everything about it. And I think it probably made you a way better actress. And going through that process now, like, cool, it's tempting to want to see all of the stuff, but then maybe stopping. And I know Christopher has talked about this too, where like, wait, what do you call it when they mimic the Broadway recording?
Don't be a track whore.
Don't be a track whore, yeah. But it's true because you get and you know, Maggie, like you'll listen to it for so long and then your brain just wants to mimic it. And so the fact that you got to just bring that to life, and that was a great show.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Then my other one was actually the last show I just did. I just played, if you can believe it, I can't believe all these words fit in one sentence, a burlesque grandmother. Actually a player playing a burlesque grandmother. In Pippin, I played Bertha, and that was something like unlike anything I've ever done. Like it was like be funny, but also be old, but be sexy, but change your voice. Like yes. Well, at some point that was the question. What is my eye? Because again, with that role, literally it came down to like how old are you playing on the stage versus when you're a player versus when like oh my goodness, it was everything in between.
I'm wearing a Pippin shirt. I'm wearing my Pippin shirt today, you guys. That was awesome.
That's great.
I talked to Maggie a bit about Pippin, and the last time we saw each other, she was able to show me a little snippet of her number from Pippin, and I love that show, and I'm so glad you got to experience it. And let me tell you, if you didn't get to see the show or you haven't seen a snippet of it, she was fierce. She was absolutely fierce.
It's on your Instagram, right? Or whatever, or Facebook.
Maybe
I saw it.
It's on YouTube.
YouTube.
Sure.
Well,
Texas
I've seen
State
it.
Go
MT.
check it out because I think you checked all those boxes. A player playing a grandma burlesque lady with awesome eyeshadow. You did it. Yeah, that show's fun. I'm glad you enjoyed that character. Now, with that character, because I know the show pretty well because I just did it, you're done. Like, right? You do your number and then that's it.
Yeah.
Did you get to be in the rest of the show as a player?
I got to be, well, I was a pig in Extraordinary.
Wait, that's one of my favorite numbers in the whole show.
I was a pig in Extraordinary, and they put us in these like really cool, like old, like 1950s looking like pig masks that were kind of like terrifying.
Oh.
And then like sacks. So it was like supposed to be evident that we were players playing animals.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
and I still had my like tiara on.
okay.
So it was like
I
a
love
whole
that.
journey.
So you mean people didn't really think you were a pig? Like
Yeah,
we
like-
really were not believing
Yeah.
that you were a pig?
Exactly.
Okay.
It was more like, look at all the players like playing these animals. And we had like a dance break. It was great. And then I got to be in the finale. But for me, what was so interesting is because Bertha is like one and done, it's like that show is just so rich with like discoveries for like if you're tree number 3 or if you're Pippin.
Yeah.
Because like when are you playing Bertha? When are you playing your player? Like what do you want to happen to so like every moment you're on stage, like either your player or your character is like thinking something or wanting something to happen. Oh, it was just like so interesting. So I got to be in a couple numbers, and in all of those, it was like deep analysis and like, come on, Pippin, do it. Or like, don't do it, Pippin. Like,
but like how fun for every person in that show, though. I love the way that show is written with that intention of like, you know, we talk a lot. I mean, even today, Christopher probably heard me say it during our rehearsal, which also, if you're watching, is why I'm wearing a t-shirt and my hair's in a ponytail. So don't judge me.
Don't judge.
We just had a 4-hour rehearsal for our show. But I constantly tell them, like, I can't handhold you through every single thing, and you've got to play around and you've got to think about what you're thinking in your relationships and all this stuff. And I think in lots of in all shows, it's important, but in Pippin for sure, right? Because it is kind of this neutral where you're like, cool, if you're playing Bertha, you could take it this way. And if you're playing Bertha, it can go this route. That's fun. I wish I could have seen you live in that show.
Right. We should
Maggie,
have just gone.
what is a dream role of yours? And I love because you're younger. Like my dream role list has shrunk.
yeah.
Because I'm 30-10.
Right.
But you, I'm sure, like, what is your, like, if tomorrow somebody said, Maggie, you can play this role tomorrow on the Broadway, and what would that be?
Okay, this one's hard. The other one,
If you have like top 5,
answer.
that's fine too, because I can never
Just
make a
pick one.
decision
I mean,
either. Yeah. Because I have about 25 in my head that I want to see you play.
I know.
So I want to know what you want to
I
play.
mean, it's just because it's at the top of my brain, and technically I have already played it, but it's coming back with Sutton Foster. I'd love to be Winifred again in Once Upon a Mattress, because again, another leading
Yes.
lady that's like hysterical, but like owns it and has like real depth. And I mean, she's kind of silly, but a little more silly than Annie Oakley, but serious depth. And
Okay,
yeah.
you have to tell the story.
Which one?
The story of the costume change.
oh no, what?
That's in Sideshow.
Oh,
it's in
that's
Sideshow.
Sideshow, but
Let's
that
talk about that. But I have a story about when Maggie played Winifred.
Okay.
So
I'm
Maggie,
off topic as usual.
do you remember? What'd you say?
I said I'm off topic as usual.
No, we'll get to
no,
Sideshow
but
because
you're
it's
so
funny.
close.
So if you don't know Once Upon a Mattress, it's the story of Princess and the Pea, essentially much better told and very funny. And Princess Winifred is the princess. And there is the main set piece in the show is it's a bed. That's how many mattresses? 20 mattresses high, whatever they say it in the show. And it's this giant, you essentially have to make like a loft bed on stage and have it look like there's a bunch of mattresses. And she has to get up there and she does a whole scene up there. So my little Maggie, she did the show and we built this bed, and Kim Young, who is the master of all things, she built the bed and we were in her driveway. No, actually I think we're at the theater.
No,
We had gotten to the theater, we brought it to the theater, and there's this scene where we blocked it where Maggie had to climb up on the bed, and then we wanted her to stand fully tall and then just like face dive down into the bed. Firstly, Maggie just climbing up to the bed, I was like, have you never climbed a ladder? Like, she was like, I don't know if I can, my foot is here and I'm in a dress. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we have to cancel the show. Maggie cannot climb a bed and we're doing Once Upon a Mattress. So we finally got her up there, and then she could not, you guys, she was like, I can do it. Nope. Okay, here we go. And she'd like psych herself out. And
Yeah,
then she'd stand up, and then she'd be like, nope, no, I can't do it. I can't. So we had to like take baby steps, and eventually she got there and she rocked the entire scene. But the first part, I mean, you were scared, right?
Well, and let me just say that the first time I successfully did I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and I go, the bed broke. The bed went, and
wait, it didn't break.
Okay, it just lost a hinge or a nail or
Well.
something, and all of a sudden everyone's like, "Don't move, we're gonna get you down." I'm like, okay.
Oh my god!
But-
and if
yeah.
you know her, she's so like, and once you know her well, she does not freak out.
No.
Yeah.
She's just like, okay, but you hear in her voice, like inside, she's having a complete freak out. But she's like, it's fine, it's fine,
It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
I'm
Oh,
alright.
Maggie. That is a
Yeah.
great role for you.
Oh.
I would love to see you play that role again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I saw that show. It was good.
You know what role?
What?
Audrey in Little Shop. There it is.
That is a great role for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is another kind of like fun caricature role, but then obviously has more depth to her.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, that's a great show.
It's a good show.
It's one of my faves, I think.
I know it
Yeah.
is. You said that.
Okay. So
So I think that's
Winifred
true.
and Audrey.
Yeah.
I love that.
Winnie.
I mean, and a million more, but
Right.
those
No.
are my
But
two.
those are your like top two right now.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so sideshow.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And then we're going to go back to Pippin because you told me a story earlier, Maggie, that you're going to share.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
but let's talk about Sideshow. So I honestly, I feel like we could do an entire separate episode of like funny Maggie stories because
Oh, yeah.
I feel like things happen to you on stage and she's just so graceful about it all. Like it's like whatever. And that's the performer you want, right? I love when things
Yes.
go wrong because you're like,
Making
cool,
it
Maggie
work.
is I'm totally making it work, right? Maggie's not gonna
Yeah.
care. So in Sideshow, well, there's two Sideshow stories, but I'm gonna tell the one I told Christopher
Great.
first. So she played Daisy, one of the twins,
Yeah.
and she went from a scene where she was wearing like
Oh.
a dress into a scene where she
an
needed to,
evening gown.
like
an evening gown.
yeah, to a scene where she had to put on like high-waisted pants and kind of like a shirt, like a blouse over it. And she goes up, and they had made this costume change several times. And the costume changes in that show are insane. And I'm sitting, Maggie's like dying over here next to me. If you're not watching,
This is like a live show, like an actual, not a dress rehearsal.
there's an audience.
This is the show. This is the show that's, yeah.
And look, I need to hear her like version of it too. I'm just gonna go from my
No, you-
version.
yeah.
So I see them exit, and I know the costume change is happening, and they come out, and she's on stage probably a good 20 seconds before I'm like looking at her, and I'm like, what did she like? I can't. I'm like, that is not correct. Like, I'm looking at her, I'm thinking, what happened? It looked like she had put a floaty inner tube like underneath her pants. And I was like,
What's going
what
on?
does she do? I'm like, is she trying to underdress something? No, turns out her zipper on the gown got stuck. So she had to shove the entire ball gown into these pants, and she comes out as if nothing has happened. She's just like, I don't know what song you were coming out to sing.
It's 1 + 1 = 3. So I looked pregnant. We're singing 1 + 1 =
She did.
3.
She had like a total like muffin top inner tube weird.
Because I put, not only did I mess up the quick change, I put the pants on backwards. So my dress was fitting where the butt was supposed to go. So I had 2 butts is what was happening.
And the funny thing was, any other kid, I don't say any other kid, most other kids, I would have known. They would have come on all like disheveled and stressed. But Maggie walks on and she's just like, I have 2 bots. Like, she didn't even care. You were like so calm, and you did the entire number with this whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and then the other sideshow story, which I think is even funnier.
Oh, it's even better.
So on her off night, when she wasn't playing Daisy, she played.
Can't even.
We might need to take a break, everybody.
I can't even get out. Wait, you played the man.
I played half man, half woman. Was the role.
Half man, half woman. So we're doing this number, and there's like 28 counts of music ahead of time. And so like everyone's making this insane costume change, a really, really fast costume change. And I didn't choreograph this number. Maddie Young did, which we got to have her on here too, because she's got some funny stories. But the music's starting, right? And it's like, like a little jazzy, right? And everyone's making costume changes.
It's like jazzy. Like
all of a sudden, here comes Maggie, and she's full entrance. Well, she is 16 counts early, and she's half dressed. So she's like, I made my costume change. And then she's like, just kidding. And she like goes off. And then 8 counts later, she re-enters with 2 more pieces on, but still early. And she's like,
and still not dressed yet.
Maddie and I were laying on the floor of the theater because strong and wrong, that's where my strong and wrong definition is Maggie Gidden half making a costume. She had 1 shoe. She had someone else's pants on. The bow tie was all cattywampus, but she made 2 incorrect entrances and still continued the costume change. Oh, Maggie, that was so funny.
Nobody stopped me. Nobody. And it was like one of those, you like come out, you realize, like a nightmare. You like realize no one's out there, and then I like look out into the audience. I'm like, hello? And then I'm like, not me. It's not for me. It's not for me.
That's the face. If you could see her like so presented, and then she's like, nope. And then just like exit. But then she does it twice, you guys. It was so, it was so funny,
I'm
Maggie.
literally crying.
Oh my gosh.
Guys.
And we like, every time I tell the story, it gets funnier and funnier. Like I can just recall it like in my brain.
So good.
Oh, so funny. Dude, that show is a show of costume changes extraordinary.
Well, and we had the rare earth magnet. So when I had, thank you, Gina.
Yes.
So when I had, my mom. So when I had quick changes with the girl who played Violet, Julia, we would have to like literally run off stage and go 1, 2, 3 and like run opposite ways so that we could unhook ourselves so we could make a quick change and we wouldn't stick to each other.
Oh my gosh. It was
Chaos.
crazy. And honestly, that show is still to this day, I think one of my favorite experiences as a director. That show's a lot. It's a lot. And I think doing it with younger people was a really good challenge. And the cast was stellar. We had a really good cast for that show. But other than Maggie's few snafus with her costumes, you guys, oh my gosh, so funny. So funny.
Never a dull moment with the 3 of us.
Leave me alone. You guys,
Siri's trying to
attack Charna. And I do not do
no Siri, no thank you.
Things very well.
Well, nothing's gonna top those stories. However, what is happening over there?
I don't know. My Siri thinks I'm talking to me.
Also, do you know you have 9,000 tabs open?
Okay, Christopher is so judgy.
You're
you guys.
gonna be in trouble.
He judges me on my microphone etiquette.
Okay.
I'm being so serious right now. Does everyone see my serious face? He judges me on my microphone etiquette. He told me today, look,
judging
you
is
can't
such
see.
a strong
I had
word.
to have a little stand so
I have
I
one
could be
too.
closer to it.
I just want the best for our listeners,
I know.
Sharna. That's all I want.
Thank you for
Exactly.
taking care of me and Christopher.
Do you have a
much.
name for your listeners?
No.
No.
Well, that is something you need to get on right
Do we
now.
need to name them?
Yeah. Yes.
Like what?
Maggie, you're hired.
Like,
You don't have to decide right now.
We're gonna
okay,
think.
good.
Think
Thank
it
goodness.
through.
Okay, we're gonna think
Yeah.
about it and then
Oh
come
my
back.
gosh! And then it's gonna be a whole new world for us.
Oh, that
And
beat me to
you
it.
can sing it.
You sing it.
We're not. Yeah.
You're
It's
way
okay.
better.
We
It
start.
passed. The
The
moment
people
passed.
know. They sang. They sang if they wanted to.
Um,
Okay, sorry. Now that we're
All right,
done,
sorry.
totally
So-
going down a
Hello.
side tangent of
All right.
Sharna's problems.
It's okay.
We're fine now.
We're back.
So, Maggie, I want to hear your story in completion about your audience member
Mm.
during Pippin.
Yes.
Can't wait.
So, I mean, if you haven't paused the episode by now and gone and watched me do No Time at All
Now
on
is the
Texas State
time.
MT's YouTube, you
As
should,
you should.
Now is the time.
to understand the story.
Or just
But if-
open a new tab
There-
because we do that.
perfect. Or if
Rude.
not, just watch it later. But anyways, it's not Siri coming back.
Wait, but it likes Maggie's voice. Oh my
Sorry.
gosh. Sorry, listeners who will have a name soon. Okay. Maggie, carry on with your life.
So there's some reveals in my number. There's some reveals in my number No Time at All when I'm playing Burlesque Grandma
Oh, I
Bertha.
like how you say that reveals. It sounds very professional.
Well, because in the when I got the role, when we were in callbacks for the role, what we got was the source material for it, like the inspiration was the fiercest drag queen ever, Ben de la Creme, doing a burlesque like skit.
Ooh.
And so drag queens do like a reveal. So
Yeah.
that's like kind of the vibe I was going for. But
Okay.
so I do some reveals. And at the final reveal, which isn't like very revealing, but it's a little revealing. I watched one man during the show on the Saturday matinee get up and leave. And I was like, no way. I was like, okay, well,
Right.
I now get to like go down in history books as like somebody left during my performance because they couldn't like deal with it, whatever. I finished my number. I'm like, yes, I get off. And I tell the stage manager, I'm like, oh my goodness, like somebody left during my number. Can you believe it? Like, how funny is that? And they go, no, Maggie. 20 people left during your number. There had been a youth group in attendance that
No.
that obviously hadn't read the plot of Pippin. It was like their outing. Like they were in like a bus.
Pause.
Yeah.
How old youth group?
I have no idea. They were like all dressed up. They came on a school bus.
Oh, bless. Bless them on
So-
their journey.
But
at
it was
Pippin.
their big outing, and I spoiled it with my reveals.
Did they just get the whole group up? Like, we're going.
Yeah,
we gotta leave now.
Gotta go.
During the
We gotta
number, during the number, people in the audience were like, "Oh, I could see them like looking up to the balcony where more of their friends were sitting and like kind of like texting and like whatever." And then like as soon as, spoiler alert, it's tassels. As soon as the tassels were revealed,
That was it.
they got up and left.
That sent them over the edge.
Yeah, they
I'm
couldn't do it.
interested to know like how a school group could attend something like that and not know what the rating
Yeah.
was.
And we have posters all over by the entrances that like tell you like warning, like what the show is rated and like the warnings, like
what did they rate it? Like PG-13?
Yeah.
Is that what they put on there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Man, you're lucky you only saw one. Because I think if I were performing and I saw 20 people get
Right.
up and leave,
You're like,
I would be like,
"Ugh."
is there a fire? Like,
I am. When I almost because
I do love that
yeah.
that's where you go. Because
concerned.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't
other
know.
people might be like, oh, they hate my performance. And you're
Oh,
like,
no.
is there a fire?
I feel like there's an
Is-
emergency.
Yeah, but I almost because I got like a lot of freedom with that role. Like we wrote a whole like burlesque banter like section. I wrote it with my director, and I kind of wanted to be like, "You sit back down," but then I was like, "That'd be bad." Like, what
oh my
if?
gosh.
yeah.
And if you had said that and then they're like, school trip.
But
shoot.
when I only saw the one man, I might have done it, but I wasn't brave. I wasn't
Oh my
gonna do it,
gosh.
and it was probably better. But I
Yeah,
thought
that's
I
crazy.
wish.
Well, note to whoever went to the school show trip. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
Read the synopsis. Is
Check
just
your
all I
info,
gotta
people.
say.
Or
Oh,
you
that's
guys got to
funny.
do like what Musical Theater West does and do like a full edited version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which if you're marketing it as a school show, but
Right.
clearly these people were like, we're going
Right.
to the
Exactly.
the university's
Yeah.
production
Right.
of Pippin. It's
Also,
gonna be
it's a
so fun.
university production. It's
Yeah. Right? Like
Yeah,
you're not going to youth theater production,
Right.
like or even high school
Exactly.
for that
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 100%.
Dang. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
good
Oh,
stuff.
Mags.
Mm.
Do you have other questions for Maggie?
I don't know. I
Christopher?
probably have 50, but
Maggie, I have a question for you about like what, and I know you don't even have to have a plan, but do you have an idea? Obviously, I know you love performing. Out of college, are you going to go right into that? Is that like kind of what you're going to jump into?
Yeah, I'm kind of planning on I get to showcase with my school with Texas State. Go Bobcats. I get to showcase with them, and so I'm hoping from there I'll end up with some, meetings and options and stuff like that. But that's kind of what like I'm taking this year. I mean, obviously I have to, but it's what I'm taking this year to like really solidify. Like, am I going to come back here for a little bit? Because, you know, I like live close enough to LA that I could like do some work in LA. There's a lot of like virtual submissions now, or if I'm going to like stay in New York after showcase, because we're showcasing in New York. So
Right.
that's
Cool.
That's exciting. We're like back to doing that.
Yeah.
This is this year's class of 2023 was the first group that got to like go back to New York
Really?
after COVID. Yeah.
That's
Ugh.
crazy. That's awesome though.
Great for you, but
Yeah.
That's-
For
I know.
other people. Yeah, that's a
I
bummer.
know. But the videos like have actually been doing like for agents who or like casting directors who can't come, like we still send them like a video copy, which is what like COVID kind of taught. Like
Right.
the
Yeah.
good that's come out of COVID
Yeah.
is that most people are like, I'd love a video copy because I can't make it, but I'll
Right.
like cast your kid if I can see him. You know.
And so much is done that way now. I mean, we talked
That's
to
what I
my
was gonna
sister
say.
about that a little bit, and
Mhm.
she's lived through both of it. And you know, there's things she likes about it and things she doesn't. But I think she used to spend so much money on travel,
Yep.
getting to auditions and going places, and now the fact that she can do a lot of it from wherever she is, I think that is a benefit. And maybe
Mhm.
you know,
Agreed.
then you can figure it out from there. I love that.
Yeah.
How about if you could like talk to your middle school self or maybe even younger kids who like I don't know who's going to be listening. We know a lot of high schoolers listen to this, but like advice, anything like particular that maybe you've learned along the way, something as a performer or a student or a human that you would want to share?
I mean, I really strongly believe that everything happens for a reason.
Girl.
And you just gotta like, you know, trust it. And it may seem like absolutely devastating to you in this moment, but I promise you that 2 months from now or 2 weeks or 2 years or 200 years or whatever, something is going to be affected by that one decision that is going to like make it all worth it. And like, I truly believe that because like everything in my life has like happened like that.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think in terms of like auditioning and like specifically colleges, but also like it applies to everything. Like they are auditioning for you just as much as you're auditioning for
Ding,
them.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's like goes for like anything. Like it's okay to be in a high stakes situation where you're trying to impress other people and decide that like they are not for you, and that's okay. It's with like it. I know that's hard for like the people pleasers in the podcast
Yeah.
studio now.
Mm-hmm.
But just like that's okay. That's okay not to like gel with everybody, and just to know that your input is just as important as the people behind the table, or you know, in
Love
whatever
that.
facet.
Do you have any moment that sticks out to you from your journey that, because I know you said you've had some experiences, is there any one or two that kind of stick out there? You're like, gosh, that just did not work out the way I was hoping. And then it turned out that it's like,
Well,
oh,
I have one that if she doesn't think of one I was going to ask her about. Let me see
Okay.
what Maggie says.
Oh shoot!
It's okay if
well,
you don't
now
have one.
I feel like you
Like
have
anything like with like didn't work out the way you wanted and then maybe, oh, I see why now, you know?
Well, there was like a performing group in high school that I didn't end up. I like was in one year, and then the next year I didn't get back in. And again, it was like soul crushing, devastating, horrible, no good, very bad. And
Good, very
All the
bad.
things.
and I had broken my ankle. It was like
Oh, that's
all
right.
the
That's
yeah,
what I
it was
was
like
thinking
all the
of.
worst things on top of each other at once. But then because I wasn't in that performing group, I was able to audition for a random show that you've never heard us talk about called Footloose. And then I, you know, did Footloose and played Rusty and got to go to the Macy's and the Jimmy's.
That was the exact
And-
situation I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Great, like everything was going like the absolute worst that it could have gone in my brain at that
Yeah.
time. You know,
And I remember seeing you, Maggie. So we don't need to tell the whole story, but Maggie broke her ankle pretty badly at school, and had to be. Did you go in an ambulance?
Yep.
Yeah.
well, they
Uh,
wanted me to sit in my dad's car, and my ankle was facing the wrong way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember you saying that. And she had to have massive surgery, and like she's got like
whole
you know
thing.
a fake ankle now.
A
But
finkle.
my daughter at the time was tiny. Do you see a fankle?
That's what you can call your podcast
My
listeners.
gosh, you guys, we know that's a hard no. Fankles? I'll call them dwizzles before I call them fankles.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, Christopher gave me my shot. You guys, he's losing it over here. Oh my gosh, when he silent laughs, you know it's good. Like you can't even hear him right now. He can't breathe. He's cracking up. Fankles.
Wow.
All right, we're gonna have to cut this part out.
Nope.
But she had a fankle. She has a fankle.
Great.
But seriously, my daughter was really young at the time. Little. Like, I think Ruby was maybe 18 months. She was small, or 2.
Yeah, because I have that picture like holding
Yeah,
her with my ankle.
And I love because
cast.
Maggie couldn't go to school for a little while, and she stayed home and was at a friend's house, and Ruby was over there too. And I just remember they'd send me all these pictures of Ruby and Maggie, and they had like a little moment, and I remember thinking I was really upset that you didn't get to play the other role you wanted. We won't talk about it during that time. And then I remember thinking, I say it all the time, everything happens for a reason. Even if in the moment you're like, no, this is terrible. And again, then we kind of saw where all of that went to. And it doesn't make it easier in the moment. I mean, that was hard for you, Maggie. I remember. Really, really hard.
Yeah.
But you got through it. The other thing too, Mags, I know that you are so happy with where you are at college, but that was not your first choice.
Other thing was I was going to say, out of the 19 schools I applied to, all of them were like, well, except for like, the big, like Carnegie Mellon, Penn State, Michigan, like they all were around in and near New York, because it was like, to me, it was like, well, you have to be near New York to be doing it. Like, I need to be in the city as soon as possible. Like, I have to do this. And Texas State was like something that my college coach was like, you should just put it on your list. Like, you'd really love it there. And I was like, okay. And I got into that info session and I was like, why is this random school in Texas like my most favorite place in the whole world?
Yep.
And then I auditioned and I got waitlisted there. And after all that stuff, I got into 2 schools, waitlisted at 5, and then rejected from some like audition, like programs and auditions that were my, like, if I had to rank my auditions, were like my top like ranked auditions, which just like goes to show that, college auditions are like this much about your talent and how beautiful and wonderful and talented you are, and like this much I can't even show you on the screen about everything else. But
yes, everybody hear that, because we still are fighting that battle and telling our students. But I remember, because I know Maggie personally, and going through that and being like, oh my gosh, this is really cool for you. You had such a great realization through it, I think. Yeah. Because especially with a performer, a theater and musical theater performer, you want to be in New York. Most people are like, I have to be there. That's where I need to be. And like, I don't want to say thank goodness you weren't, but thank goodness you weren't. Like, you have had such a great college experience. And I think, again, everything happens for a reason. And you had to kind of switch that mindset, right? And then you're so happy now.
I'm so happy.
At your school.
So magical.
It all worked out.
I love it.
Ta-da.
All right. What do you think, Christopher? Wrap it up.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Christopher likes to do the wrap up.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Fankles.
Oh my, no, we're not trying
Testing
it out.
it out. I like it.
We're not doing it. I'm with you, Sharna. No. Absolutely not.
Now we still got to think about one. I mean, we're going to end this podcast. We're going to chat about some ideas.
We'll come back with the thought.
This episode's going to end, and then the next one we're going to be like, we got news for y'all.
Yeah.
We had Maggie Gidden on here, and she helped us name our listeners.
Yeah, she recorded our intro and
Maggie, thank you for being on here. I know I can't say it enough, but you are a magical human. So when you win all your Tonys, please don't forget your measly friends Sharna and Christopher. And we'll be there right in the front row cheering you on, because we love you.
To like play for you at the Tonys, so let's see if we can make that happen.
Shoot, that's next level. I would like to go to the after party. Okay, enough of the requests. But
we will
truly,
be there.
If you don't know Maggie, follow her on whatever you can follow her
what's
on
your,
and
what's
watch
your
her.
things?
Oh yeah,
what's your
how do
handles?
Maggie is me on Instagram, and Maggie, this one's silly, Maggie Magster Mags on TikTok.
Oh.
And you can also look at my website, maggiegidden.com.
Please
Even
do.
better. Can you get to all your stuff from your website?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, of
She's
course.
like,
Also
that.
What's that? Hey.
Of course. I know. We're 30-10, so I'm just saying.
You're 30-10. I'm now 30-11. Don't get it twisted.
30-11. But truly, thank you for your time. And she's a superstar and a cool human. Just
Absolutely.
an awesome gal, and so great with young kiddos and with helping
Yeah.
and constantly just being like, yeah, I can help you. Yeah, I can do this. What do you need? So we love you, Max.
Always with a great attitude and a smile on your face.
And then she opens her mouth to sing and you're like, shut it down.
Yeah. Like literally go away, because
We love it.
We're so jealous.
All right. And on that note,
yes,
Christopher.
on that note, Now I don't even know my ending. You got me so flustered.
Aw.
I know. So I'll put Maggie's info in our episode description so you can find it there. Go to YouTube and subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Charnopher Official. Go to uncommonpod.com. All the info is there if you forget something. And on that note, Charnopher out.
Ew. What?
She jumped
Oh my
in.
God, she
said,
did.
Bam.
I'm here for that. I'm here for it.
Oh my goodness.
This concludes another episode of Uncommon Sense. If you're ready for more of this fresh, hilarious, and unique perspective on the world of entertainment, education, and life, be sure to subscribe right now to catch every episode. If you gasped, laughed out loud, or even snorted, share the show with your friends and aspiring entertainers because, let's be real, sharing is caring. For more Charnopher, tune in to their witty insights by checking out the website uncommonpod.com or connecting on social media. Tune in next week and get the real insider scoop on another episode of Uncommon Sense.